Talked a lot about the supply chain there. The supply chain out there, get your questions ready, because they obviously want to hear what you think. And Tricia was nodding as well when he was mentioning the supply chain. So now's your chance to ask those questions. Talked a lot as well about what users think. What do users think? Well, the person who can answer that question, do they want what we think they want, the people using the roads, the Chief Executive of Transport Focus, Anthony Smith.
Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me at the back? Can you wave? Oh, yes, people are waving, or are you just saying hello? Hello. Thank you for the invite here. It's great to be back at Highways UK. I think this is rapidly becoming the sort of Glastonbury of the roads world. You've got to be here, you've got to be seen, you've got to do some glamping along the way at the NEC. So it's really good to be back here, and it's great to have the user voice being heard in all of these debates. And where are my slides? There they are. They're not coming up here, by the way, at the back. Transport Focus, who are we? How do we fit into this whole process? We are the independent consumer watchdog for Britain's rail passengers, England's bus, coach and tram passengers, and since the April before last, the users of the strategic road network in England. And that includes all users of the strategic road networks. That includes freight, who we're working with for the first time, and also all the other people who come into contact with the strategic road network, be it cyclists, or horse riders who are crossing it or whatever, and of course pedestrians in places, because the strategic road network actually forms the high street in one or two places. So we've got a very broad brief. We are a consumer organisation. We're not interested in how people, we're not trying to push people into certain ways of travelling. We're interested in making the choices better, the travelling experience better. We're very much trying to be useful to you and all the others who are making decisions about transport in this country. And most importantly, we are evidence-based. I could bore you about my last journey on the M20 and the A20, but it's not really going to help you very much in forming your objectives for the road investment strategy or beyond. We want to bring evidence to the table. That's what we do on rail. The National Rail Passenger Survey has just seen its millionth passenger filling in a questionnaire. I hope we're soon going to get to a point where we have 1 million motorists and truck drivers who have filled in our survey forms as well. So that's what we're trying to bring to the party, and very much part of the new architecture of Highways England as it moved into a government company, as it moved into being more arm's length, and as the Office of Rail and Roads joined the party as well. We're there to provide the user voice. Just in case you can't imagine what a stand looks like at Highways UK, we've got a picture there for you. So please do go and have a look at our stand, A29, in the hall. Lots of my colleagues there, all of our researchers there are available for you to take away, so please do go and have a look. And what we've launched this morning, or is being launched pretty much just now by Andrew Jones MP, is our latest piece of research, which is about what road users think about both roadworks and about how delays and incidents are dealt with on the strategic road network. I think this is a very, very important issue as we move forward, because, of course, all the very welcome investment that's contained in the Road Investment Strategy 1 and is going to be in the Road Investment Strategy 2 is going to involve a lot of pain in the short term to road users. As it's all dug in, as the road network has improved, there are going to be more roadworks. Great. Well, we better get used to it, and we better get better at dealing with it, because the government wants to get the credit for its investment in road and rail and elsewhere in the transport system. And if you talk to people to death while you're sort of digging in the investment, you can lose a lot of credit in the short term, as we have seen on the railways, where it's going through a network rail, others are going through very painful processes at the moment. We want to make this a smoother process on the road network. So we've done lots of work on what road users' priorities for improvement are, and we've delved more into some of the key issues and making quite a few recommendations, which you'll be able to see in the report. And the aim of all this is to help Jim and his colleagues in particular embed the user voice into the way Highways England plans, thinks, measures itself, and goes about every single initiative. I think for a monopoly infrastructure provider, it's absolutely crucial that you've got an active user voice in the system. And I think Jim and his colleagues have made a great start in this. They've got customer services directors. They're starting to think about what their network is there for, who they're providing it for, and how they can improve it for them. So I think I would echo what Peter said. I think a very, very positive start. And a lot of the stuff that road users say back to us will be very, very, very familiar to you. Things have been said already. The cones are out. I can't see anybody working. Now, you all know that there's something probably going on because the cones are out, that it's being prepared for the evening work or whatever. But to the user, the cones are out, they can't see anything happening. So they think they're just being inconvenienced for no reason whatsoever. You've got to tell people what you're doing, why you're doing it, how long it's going to take. Lots of stuff about roadside facilities, motorway service facilities, pretty good by and large. A-road facilities, highly variable, especially for truck drivers. Lots of stuff around speed limits in roadwork zones, 50 miles an hour, very long stretches of roadworks. Users don't like it. We know the government and Jim and colleagues are now looking to introduce shorter bursts of roadworks. And because if you've driven up the M3 in that very long section of roadwork where you can be hemmed in between a concrete barrier on one side and an HGV on the other side, and it's raining, and you're going at 50 miles an hour for about 20-odd miles, Jim, 23 miles, it's quite a long way. You feel quite exhausted at the end of it. It's hard work. I wish I had an autonomous car. It would be great. But a lot of what the users are saying are common themes, which I think we've got to try and reflect in the work of Highways England as we move ahead. The longer term work we're doing, very clear issues. Obviously, in the long term, users see that congestion is going to increase on the road network. The number of cars, the number of HGVs is increasing. The economy is doing all right at the moment. There's a lot of movement. There's a lot more traffic moving around. Congestion is there in a lot of places. Although we think users, by and large, come to accept it, it becomes to be the norm. What they're looking for is predictable journey times. What they don't like is their journey times being disrupted. Obviously, improving safety, including the behaviour of other drivers. Everybody thinks they're a brilliant driver. I'm a brilliant driver. You're all terrible. Why is that the case in the human psyche? It's always other people's fault in terms of driving. And I think there's a lot to be thought about how the infrastructure is designed, how the information is presented to help people drive better. And obviously try and reduce journey times if possible. In the shorter term, very clear, sharp messages. I think people accept that there's a lot of congestion out there. They accept that a lot of people are going to head off from the A303 on a bank holiday weekend or whatever. But they want predictability. They want helpful information if there is disruption. And very interesting, out of our early bits of work, improved quality of road surfaces on the strategic road network came out as a very important priority. A lot of people were very surprised by that, thinking, well, are you sure that's the strategic road network? That's not the potholed local road network? No, strategic road network. A lot of it is in very good condition, but lots of bits of concrete, lots of bits of joins, some of the slip roads not so good, some of the roundabouts not so good. People, the noise, the water on it, perhaps we need to do some more work into that. Shorter roadwork sections, as I mentioned, and also when there are delays, what can we do about stopping drivers joining the back of queues where you've got long queues of traffic building up and you've got this very dumb relationship between the car and the infrastructure. I think as cars become more connected, that quality of the information that can go between the infrastructure and the car is going to be absolutely crucial to improving the user experience. We've done a lot of work already, as I've said, including working in the logistics sector, which is a fascinating sector to work in. We hadn't worked with freight before, but what the freight sector is looking for is predictability. They can cope with differing conditions, they can cope with roadworks as long as they know about it. And if they know about it, they can deliver on time. And learning about that very customer-focused sector and what it needs from roads is very, very interesting. When you press that button that says next day delivery and your parcel arrives the next day, seeing what goes on in the East Midlands behind the scenes to get that parcel to you is little short of astonishing. But what they want from Jim's network is predictability, just so they know exactly what's happening. And all of this is feeding into the development of the Roads Investment Strategy 2. I think all of us accept that Roads Investment Strategy 1 is work in progress. It's a new thing. We're all learning on the job. Getting Roads Investment Strategy 2 right is very important. In particular, getting users' views into the route strategies, making sure that we ask users what they want measured and the progress with the road investment strategy is expressed in user language. We don't want some sort of econometric sort of formulas that say, it's 7.1, it's all fantastic. And you think, well, what's 7.1? Is that good or bad? We want to know if users are satisfied and if they're becoming more satisfied. And also doing an extra bit of work about smart motorways. Already mentioned before, there's been a lot said about the perceptions of safety on smart motorways. I don't think we've heard the user voice, the general user voice enough about what the experience is on that, and we'll be doing that early next year. So lots more work to come, developing the new strategic roads user strategy to replace what Highways England do at the moment, and also other bits of work coming along on the proposed lorry park in Kent and the truck driver experience of getting in and out of Dover, and soon work on cyclists and other users of the strategic road network. So, very brief introduction. I think we've made a good start in getting the user voice embedded in all this, and looking forward to your questions. Thank you very much.